Welcome to the second lesson of your Intro to Yoga series. Today is going to be a little bit more physically challenging. We're going to introduce downward facing dog, which can be quite a technical posture and can take a little bit of getting used to on the wrists, on the hamstrings. We're going to revisit the cobra variations that we looked at in your first lesson. And we're going to continue to build not only strength, but also mobility in the joints. Starting in the same way, finding your preferred comfortable seated position. Relaxing into the shoulders, giving yourself any adjustments that feel good. When you're ready, softening the gaze, closing the eyes. Settling into that steady flow of your Ujjayi breath. Taking the breath both in and out through the nostrils. Checking in with your full body scan. Taking the awareness from the toes right the way up to the crown of the head. Moving, adjusting, whatever the body responds to. Eyes remaining closed, come to rub the palms together, creating heat in the hands. Cupping the palms over the eyelids. Lightly blink the eyes open, lowering the palms down the front side of the body. You remember, interlace the fingers, pressing up towards the ceiling, pushing down through the sit bones. This time we're going to let the fingers float down, straight away coming into that gentle twist. Left hand to right knee, looking past the right shoulder. Softly release over to the other side, looking past the left shoulder. Coming back to center, swapping the legs around just so we don't create too much favoritism on one side. Tiptoe the right fingers over, flatten the palm to the floor, pushing back into the left hip, left arm, palm facing to floor, extending, reaching as far overhead as you can. Inhale to release. Same thing to the other side. Tiptoe those left fingers, right hip is still pushing down to the floor, right arm, palm facing down, reaching overhead. Inhale to come back up. Staying on the fingertips, just on the outside of the hips. Try and push down through the fingertips, down through the sit bones, lengthening, lifting. Good. Chin tucking back to the throat. 2 more breaths here. Gently release, walking the fingertips forward. Remember to keep them in line with one another. Flatten into the palms if you can. Pressing the sit bones to the mat, dropping the head forward. Two more breaths. Inhale, slowly walking the hands back up. Straightening into the spine, lifting into the head. Great. Uncrossing the legs, coming into that tabletop position. You can give the feet a little bit of a shake. Remember, alignment is really important. Knees are comfortably stacked underneath the hips, palms underneath the shoulders. We're going to straighten into the right leg. Notice my toes are still touching to the floor, and imagine there's a wall heel behind you and you're pressing that heel away from the body. Good. Gently release. Same thing onto the left leg. Toes are touching to the floor, pushing that heel into an imaginary wall. Feel the stretch down the back of the leg into the belly of the calf. And gently release. Staying in your tabletop position, see if you can fold the fingertips back towards the knees. If this is really strong for you on that inside of the forearm, please do one hand at a time. So adjusting either both hands or one palm at a time and gently shifting the weight back towards the heels. If you're working with one hand, you can gently release, changing hands. Softening, coming forward, bringing the fingertips to the front of the mat. We're going to reverse that, so this time palm is facing upwards, but notice my back of the hand is completely flush to the mat. Again, rather do one hand at a time and have the correct technique than try and force both together. And again, softly sitting the weight back towards the heels. If you're working with one hand, please change. And then inhale, gently release. Make sure that your weight comes forward again. Bring the fingertips to face the front. I'm going to walk the knees closer. Notice how I tuck the toes under. I'm going to walk back, sitting onto my heels, creating as much bend into the backs of the toes, interlacing the fingers, giving the wrists a little bit of a release. Good. Change direction. Well done. Releasing the hands, releasing the feet. Give them a little bit of a kick out. They can be really strong on the toes, especially if you're a runner. Bring the knees nice and wide. Sit back onto the heels, walking the palms forward, coming into your extended child's pose. This time we're going to walk both hands over as far across to the left as you can, placing the right palm on top, and see if you can get the forehead to touch to your mat. Inhale to lift up, walking the right hand as far over to the side as you can. Left palm on top and soften that forehead to the floor. Inhale, walking the hands back to neutral, pressing up, coming into that tabletop position. We're going to work into your downward facing dog. The hand position is really important. If you can think of making a letter J with the index finger and thumb, middle finger to the top of the mat, and the other two fingers fanning out. Okay? Toes tuck under, weights even in both hands, and pressing that tailbone up towards the ceiling. Lightly start to pedal into the knees, okay? Giving a little bit of a twist underneath the body. You might want to move into the neck, giving yourself a few yes no's, nodding up and down, side to side with the head. Inhale, pressing as high into the tippy toes as you can, and exhale, imagine you're drawing the heels as close to the mat as possible, okay? Don't force it if they're not there yet, rather keep a bend in the knees. Last one. Good. From here, we're going to inhale, ripple forward, come into what we call a high plank position. Drawing the belly button to the spine, again checking that hand position, active in the feet. Remember that little warm-up, same thing, there's an imaginary wall behind you. Shift back into your downward facing dog. If you know your hamstrings, calves, Achilles are really tight, keep walking it out. Inhale, ripple forward, belly button drawing to the spine, stay active in the core, active in the heels, and lengthening as much as possible through the crown of the head. Great. Exhale, tailbone up towards the ceiling. We're going to gently soften back down to the knees, sit back to the heels, come off the hands if they feel a little fatigued. Inhale, shift the weight to the palms, toes tuck under, come back into your downward facing dog. Inhale, ripple forward to your high plank. We're going to soften down to the knees, lowering down, think of chest to chin, a little bit of a slide, and we're going to inhale, press up into that baby cobra. Float the palms for a moment, lower the palms, lower the head, shifting back, toes tuck under, sit bones to heels, and inhale to press up to downward facing dog. We're going to do that sequence 2 more times. Soften down to the knees. Remember, we're hugging the elbows to the ribs, sliding forward, pressing up. You might feel ready to go a little bit stronger into your cobra. Exhale all the way down. Tuck the toes under. Shift back into that child's pose variation. And pressing back into your downward facing dog. Ideally, feet are hip width apart here. Gazes to the thighs or to the belly button. Last little sequence, soften down to the knees, chest to chin. As smooth as you can, inhale, come into that cobra. Weight even in the palms, toes are tucked under, sitting onto the heels, and shifting back to downward facing dog. Softening down onto both knees, staying in that tabletop position. We're going to start on the right hand side. Gentle little circle into the right hip. Changing direction. Taking a big step with the right foot to the outside of the right hand. Both hands come up onto the knees, checking in with the alignment. And gently shift the weight to the top of the mat. I'm relaxed in the shoulders, straight in the spine. Releasing the left hand down to the floor, I'm going to open up, take my easy twist to the right hand side. Exhale, lowering that right hand on the inside of the right foot. Left toes tuck under, and I'm stepping back into my downward facing dog. Soften down to the knees, you know where this is going. Finding that slide through into your cobra, relaxed in the shoulders. Sitting back onto the heels. Inhale, weight to the palms and come up to downward facing dog. Tailbone to ceiling, making space between the shoulder blades as much as you can. Soften to both knees, good. We're going to start to circle into that left hip. Changing direction. Good. Stepping the left foot to the outside of the left hand, bringing both hands onto the knees, relaxed, heels stacked comfortably underneath the knee, and hips are both heading to the top of the mat. Lowering the right hand down to the floor, easy twist, gaze up to the left fingertips if the neck feels okay. Exhale, looking down, left hand comes on the inside of the left foot. Right toes tuck under, okay? Big step back into your downward facing dog. Playing with that sequence, softening down onto the knees, chest to chin, sliding through, relaxed in the shoulders, cobra of your choice, shifting back, sitting onto the heels. Good. Weight even in the palms, tailbone up to the ceiling and meeting in downward facing dog. Inhale, looking to your hands. Can be a little bit tricky. We're going to exhale, step through, coming into a seated position. Legs straight out in front of you. Well done. Give it a little bit of a shake into the legs. Inhale, reach the arms to the ceiling, and exhale to come forward. Chin tucking back to the throat, shoulders dropping away from the ears. Two more breaths. Inhale to come up. We're going to drop the hands on the outside of the hips, dropping down onto the elbows. Where the elbow is planted, you're going to shift into the palm. We're coming into your reverse tabletop, bending into the knees. When you look between the knees, you should see the outline of the big toes, okay? With an inhale, pressing up, lifting the hips as high as you can. Now you're either going to keep your gaze to the knees, or if the neck is comfortable, drop it behind the shoulders. So really good counter pose to downward facing dog. You should feel the stretch across the chest into the front of the shoulders. Two more breaths. Well done. Tucking the chin to the collarbones. If you dropped it behind the shoulders, lower down through the hips. Straightening out the legs. Give yourself, your wrists, a little bit of a release. Inhale, sweep the arms up, and exhale, come back to your seated forward fold. Okay, relaxing into the shoulders. Inhale, gently release, bending the knees, soles of the feet come to touch. Remember, closer the heels to the body, stronger it is in the stretch. Further away, slightly more forgiving. We're going to add an arm variation, opposite hand to knee. Soles of the feet are touching. Inhale to find that length. Exhale, using a little bit of pressure from the palms onto the knees. We're here for 3 more breaths. Inhale, gently release, taking the hand from the bottom over to the top. Inhale to find that length. Exhale, pressing into the knees, chin tucking back to the throat. 3 more breaths. Inhale, slowly coming up. You can use the hands to lift into the knees. Shift yourself to the top of your mat, hugging the shins, dropping the forehead forward, round into the upper back as much as you can. Gently release, nice and slowly lowering yourself all the way down onto your full spine. Like we did in your first lesson, walking the heels as close to the middle fingers as possible. Weight even in both feet, pressing the lower back into the floor, into your mat. We're going to lift the hips up, and this time we're
holding up. Remember, we want to create a strong curve into the upper back. Working a little bit more stamina and strength into the posture. Three more breaths. Exhale nice and slowly. Think of dropping one vertebra back into the floor at a time. Once the spine is completely settled to the mat, taking that pause breath, breathing in through the nose, sighing it out through the mouth. Good. We're going to repeat exactly the same. Imprint the lower back to the floor, pressing up, lifting through the hips, weight even on both feet. Either staying as you are, or if you'd like to create a little bit more space, if the shoulders feel comfortable, interlace the fingers and wiggling a little bit higher. So you should see straight away that that creates a little bit more height through the upper back in particular. Don't lose that connection of planting both feet evenly to the mat. Taking 3 more breaths. Releasing the hands first, adjusting, and then slowly softening the full spine all the way down to your mat. Inhale, breathing in through the nose. Sigh it out through the mouth. Crossing your right leg over your left into your figure 4. A little bit of pressure from the hand to the knee. Threading the hands over the shin or onto the back of the leg. Staying active in the toes. If you can, apply a little bit of pressure from that right elbow to the right knee. And think of drawing the left knee higher to the left shoulder. Gently release. Good. Left hand guiding that right knee over. Let the right arm extend, looking over the shoulder. Taking 3 more breaths here. Inhale, lifting the knees up. Hug the right knee to the right shoulder. Softening down. Same sequence to the left, bending into the left knee. A little bit of pressure, opening into the hip. Remember, if you're really tight, there's no reason you can't stay with this option. Lifting up, threading the hands to the back of the leg or over the shins. Active in both feet, head and shoulders relaxed. And see if you've got a little bit of room to give some more pressure from the left elbow to the left knee. And drawing the right knee up to the right shoulder. Two more breaths. Good. Well done. Releasing the right leg down to the floor. Right hand guides that left knee to the floor. Left arm extends. And see how you feel. Experiment with that left palm facing upwards, maybe rotating downwards. Feel it out for yourself into that radial nerve. Two breaths here. Inhale, gently release, lifting up, hugging the left knee up towards the shoulder. Hugging both knees up, give yourself a little rock from side to side. From here, I want you to create a 90-degree shape, so the heels are running 90 degrees to the knees and knees to hips. Arms out in line with the shoulders. As you exhale, drop both knees over to the right-hand side, stopping before they touch to the floor. Inhale, lifting the knees up to neutral. Exhale over to your left-hand side. Inhale to come back up. Exhale over to the right. Inhale up to the left. Good. Over to the side. Inhale to come up. This time, as you exhale, let both knees drop over to the right, doing your best to stack knee on knee and ankle on ankle. That's important for the alignment in your SI joint, okay, where your two hip bones join to the lower back. Strong inhale to help lift the legs up, and then exhale, let them drop over to the left. Again, trying to squeeze the knees and ankles one on top of the other as best you can. Inhale, lifting the knees up. Hugging the knees to the chest. Inhale, lifting the forehead up, creating a tight squeeze with the whole body. Then exhale, side out. Straightening the legs. Adjusting, coming into your Shavasana. So remember, ideally palms are facing upwards, feet are flopping out, comfortable, relaxed, open in the hips, but still straight in the spine. If it feels good, you can give yourself a few neck releases, turning the chin from side to side. Once you've settled into stillness, become aware of your full diaphragmatic breath. So remember, inhale, navel rising. Exhale, navel falling. Inhale, navel rising. Exhale, navel falling. Continuing at your own pace. Slowing down the inhalation and particularly the exhalation. Revisiting your full body scan from the toes right the way back up to the top of the head. Acknowledging the efforts of your practice. Checking in with not only the physical body but also the breath pattern. The eyes closed, you can lightly start to touch or brush that thumb over each finger. Bring any movements to the wrists and the ankles that feel good. If you'd like to take that full body stretch, bringing the feet to touch, inhale, reaching the arms overhead, stretching the hands from the feet, side out through the mouth. Bending into the knees, rolling onto whichever side feels most comfortable. And then using your top arm to press yourself up, come to find a comfortable seated position. Palms facing upwards, resting onto the knees. Inhale to prepare through the nose. Side out through the mouth. And again. Last one. Bringing your hands to pray. Namaste.